I didn't realize what's going on. There's the culprit. At least she's sitting out and basking now, where I can see her enjoying the part of the enclosure she hasn't destroyed. But as soon as I put Elle in here, and as soon as she discovered that this log in her enclosure is hollow and had a space for her to climb inside of, I started hearing scratching, and I thought, well, maybe she's just digging out some of the extra bedding I put in there. I knew she'd want to dig, so I talked about that in the last video. But nope, she went a little bit further than just digging out the bedding. But anyway, as you can see, there's some loose styrofoam, and unfortunately she did dig through part of her enclosure. Yeah, I'm talking about you. But the good news is she hasn't done any visible damage yet, just kind of what styrofoam she dragged out of the inside of the log, and she hasn't done any structural damage either. So as long as she has gotten the digging out of her system, this shouldn't be too much of a disaster. So I'm gonna give her a treat now to hopefully bribe some good behavior out of her. And this is where I've got to warn you, if you don't want to see a reptile feeding video, this is the time to go on to the next video. Maybe check out the last video if you didn't see Elle get introduced to her new habitat, so you can see how that introduction went. But if you do like reptile feeding videos, then this is going to be the video for you, because I will be giving Elle a quick treat along with my 2 rattlesnakes and my wife's Honduran milk snake. So if that sounds like fun to you, then stick around, hit the like button, and I'll get right into the feedings. Oh, and that sounds like Spot wants to go first, so I am going to be giving Spot a special treat today. So this is Spot right here. And as the wedge in his door says, he is a western diamondback rattlesnake. So this is not an animal I recommend people keep as a pet, and he will be the first one I feed today. But just in case Elle decides she wants to get off her basking spot, which she might do as soon as she sees that I'm feeding everybody today, I'm gonna close that up. Now, I won't keep Spot waiting any longer. Alright, so here is Spot's special treat. A few weeks ago when I made the video about switching from buying rodents in store to all the money you can save by buying your rodents online, an added bonus of buying online is just a higher variety, so I do have some quail here today that I'm going to be giving Spot. I'm just giving him one of those. The other one is going to actually be a treat for Cleo. She's not actually due to eat this week, but she has never had a quail before, and I thought even if it was ridiculously small for her size, she might feel a little less left out because all the other reptiles are getting fed today, and she might enjoy again to try a little bit of quail. There's Spot. Now I will get his door open. I'm using some real big long tongs so my hand is never around him. And we'll see how he likes it. Oh, I think Elle just realized what's going on. Oh, that was a good strike. Now, Spot here usually, oh, there he goes. I was just gonna say, Spot here usually doesn't bite and hold on to his prey. It's pretty typical for rattlesnakes to bite and release their prey because they're able to inject the venom so quickly that they don't really care if a rat goes running off. But when rattlesnakes bite birds, they do have a little bit more of an instinctual drive. At least other people have told me they've seen this. I've seen it a little bit too. When you're feeding a rattlesnake a bird, they instinctually know that if their venom takes a little while to kick in, that the bird is going to fly away and get a lot further than a little rodent is. So I think they have it in them that they know if they're eating a bird, they should just hold on to it and not risk that it flies away. Now I am going to try to help Spot get this. I put my tongs down here while I was focusing on safely filming him. But I am going to, oh, he's rattling, he doesn't like this. But I'm just trying to help him out because if he does release that, I don't want him dropping a dead quail on my carpet. So I'm just gonna plop that in there for him. And wow, you can really just see how strong those instincts to not let the bird get away are. He clearly doesn't know that this is frozen thawed prey for all the people out there who think you have to feed live prey or your snake is just not gonna enjoy it the same. He still has that same instinctual impulse to hold on to it like it was a live bird. I've never seen Spot do this where he just goes straight into eating. So on top of it being good for your reptile to give them a little bit of variation in their diet, it's also fun for us as keepers because when you feed different prey items to snakes and predators like this, you're going to see different predator behavior. And I think seeing the whole range of behaviors that reptiles have to offer is just one of the real rewarding parts of reptile keeping. But Elle is tired of waiting, so I'm going to go ahead and get her mice. I should maybe look for a smaller quail or maybe a part of a quail and give it to Elle as a treat sometime. I'm sure she would love it. So while he finishes that up, we'll just move down the line to Elle. Let's see if she will open this door. I know she learned how to open her last door, and I could get her to do that on camera all the time. I don't think she knows how to open this one yet. How's it going, Elle? So for Elle here, I just have a large mouse. Woo! I did not mean for that to happen, but that was pretty cool, and it doesn't seem like it caused her any damage. You're a monster, Elle. Pork. And that's why I defrosted a little snack for Cleo. Look at that. She's got to watch all these guys eat right in front of her. She has the forked tongue just like Elle does, that snakes also use to smell. So I'm sure Cleo has to smell all this going down too, and that's got to make it even worse to be left out. But I do have one more mouse here for Elle. We'll see. Oh, don't knock the whole bucket off and get mouse water everywhere, please. All right. Not gonna make this one so easy for you. Woo! Almost landed in my lap. Nice job, Elle. Alright, that's all I got for you today. Alright, don't go running away from me. Go ahead and you go on home. So I'll let Elle go back up to her basking spot and digest those, and now I'll move on to Cleo, and we'll see how she likes this week's appetizer. She will be getting a rat in a couple more days, but she doesn't eat quite as frequently as the rest of the pets, so that's why she's just getting the taste test today. Ooh. And I almost missed seeing this. Check this out. Spot made very quick work of that quail. That's just wild. Elle finished 2 mice, and the time it took Spot to almost finish 1 quail. Wow, check that out. Yeah, a really good view of his glottis right now. Unfortunately, he's in the very back of his enclosure, so it makes it hard to zoom in fully on it, but that little tube that just shut is the glottis or epiglottis, and that is how snakes are able to breathe while they're eating these large prey items. They can use it almost like a snorkel that'll come out, gasp for a little bit of air, and let them continue trying to take down their prey. Well, with that, I will get on to feeding Cleo, and then we've got another rattlesnake to feed. Just came back from washing my tongs. No, I don't care for an absolutely gigantic collection anymore, but I still think it's a good idea to wash your tongs off, especially between the same type of animal. I'm less concerned about going from a snake to a lizard, like going from Spot to my Tegu, because there's not really as many diseases that can transfer between lizards and snakes, at least not that I've ever had to deal with or am aware of. But now that I'm going back to feeding another snake, especially since it's my girl Cleo here, I did go over and wash off the tongs just to make sure I'm using clean utensils and I'm not making Cleo eat anything gross. So I will open this up now, and I'm sure she knows what day it is, so I am going to keep my hand away from her, even though she's very friendly, just because snakes are kind of like the sharks from Finding Nemo. They know we're friends and not food, but sometimes once there's blood in the water, they have a hard time telling that difference. So I'll set the camera down right here. I love seeing her draped over her tree trunk. That was one of the things I'd hoped she'd do with it. Oh, and fun fact, I thought she was going to break the roots again. She was trying to go through that little gap in there. And the last time she backed out and didn't force her way through, which I was relieved about because I thought I would break the enclosure, but I came in here last night around midnight and she was all the way through that. The thickest part of her body had already passed through and she made it out. So never underestimate how small a snake can make their body to squeeze through something, because this big old boa made it through that tiny little hole in the root without doing any damage to her or the root system. Alright, so I will stop keeping her waiting and you, and we will see how Cleo likes her first quail. The second I picked it up in the bin all the way over here, Elle came running off of her log and thinks she's getting fed again. Elle might get another treat. The head was kind of falling off that quail, so Elle will get that quail head now. I would say I never did nothing nice for her. Oh my gosh, and there goes Cleo. I'll let go of that. And again, for the people that say snakes know when they're not being fed live food and they're missing out on something, maybe. I don't really think so. I see the response from my rattlesnake. I see the response from Elle. You saw her go flying out of her enclosure. They still have all those hunting instincts kick in. Cleo here is still constricting her prey with all the vigor she would if it was a real prey item or a big enough prey item for her. Again, this isn't a full meal for her. This is just to kind of see if she liked quail and to hold her over until it actually is time for her to eat. But she usually does take her sweet time, so I'm going to close that up. I'm sorry, that wasn't for you. Oh, but it does look like Spot wants seconds too. Alright, so I haven't really shown you this side of the room yet because so much stuff has been getting moved around and readjusted with the new enclosures, but now I've got Lucy, the Honduran milk snake, right down there. I have someone you might not have seen unless you follow a lot of my TikToks or my YouTube shorts, and that is Jupiter, my leopard gecko. I used to breed leopard geckos years ago, and that is the last one I've kept after all these years. And then right up here, we've got the next snake I will be feeding. This is Bojangles, my albino western diamondback rattlesnake. And he's peering up at us from that little hide. And I already got his enclosure unlocked, so I'll get right into feeding him. Oh, swing and a miss, but he got it on that second try. And I know he's a rattlesnake and he can't help it, but he is probably my meanest looking reptile. Something about the harsh lines of that scale that gives rattlesnakes a permanent angry eyebrow, and then just that deep red in the pupil makes Bojangles here look so mean. And maybe it's for the best, because he certainly isn't a snake you want to be messing with. So I will close this up. And we'll get to giving my gecko a small rat. No, just kidding, I'm not doing that. I'm actually going to go down here and feed Lucy, the Honduran milk snake. It's coming out, I can tell she's hungry. But first, I'm going to practice what I preach, and I'm going to go wash my tongs off since I just fed a snake before I go back to feeding another snake. I was just about to start feeding Lucy, the Honduran milk snake, and I turned around and I noticed Cleo is almost done with her meal. So I figured I'd film her getting the end of that quail and use this as a quick sponsor break. Today's video is brought to you by my lovely patrons that have sponsored this channel, so I don't have to have sponsors right now. If you enjoyed this channel and enjoy the videos I make and want to help me be able to continue making these videos, I do have a Patreon now where you can sign up to support me for as little as $3 a month. Those $3 will go to keeping this channel running, and you will get your screen name in the end credits of every video. And for a little bit more, you can sign up for the higher tiers that will get you special voting rights for upcoming topics of videos, and can even get you a shout out in each full-length YouTube video. So if you enjoy these videos and want to make sure that I'm able to keep making them, I would appreciate it greatly if you considered becoming a sponsor. And with that, it looks like Cleo is done with eating that quail. Oh, she pinned her head. She's gonna get out? Oh, she figured it out, good girl. But with that, thank you to everybody who has already become a patron and made this video possible. You guys are the best, and now I will get back to the snake feeding. All right, last but not least, got Lucy, the Honduran milk snake. She has one of the best feeding responses. Oh my gosh. And yet again, as soon as I lifted this out of the bucket, you can see Elle over there came running off her log. She thinks she's getting fed again. And just proof of how intelligent they are, I'm on the complete other side of the room, but I make a quick motion that she's interested in, and she is very fast to react. Alright, Lucy, it's behind you. Oh, wow! Oh, wow! That was faster than I thought. I was just trying to get her back in frame, but she took that down without hesitation. Oops. Sorry about jostling around the camera, trying to get a more stable angle. And it looks like Lucy is just trying to figure out where the head is. Normally snakes prefer to eat their prey head first. It just goes down a little bit easier that way. So she's just got to kind of unwrap it a minute and try to make heads or tails of it. Closing that up. Nope. The mouse is behind you. See, this is what I'm talking about. She's not a vicious snake. I can hold her all day. She's very friendly. But something about snakes, once there's blood in the water and they smell that it's feeding day, some of those higher processing faculties seem to go out the window. It's behind you. It's right there. Anyway, the rodent's right behind her. I'm hoping she'll find that in a minute or two. And I'm also hoping that if you're still here and made it all the way to the end, that means you enjoyed this video. And if you did enjoy today's video, then let me know by hitting the like button. I only have so much time to film, I only have so much time to edit, so there are choices I have to make on what types of videos I'm gonna make going forward. So by you guys interacting with these videos, either down in the comments or by liking the videos, that kind of helps guide me in what direction I'm gonna take this channel and take these videos in. And if you want even more creative control over this channel, you can sign up for my Patreon, where some of the tiers have special voting rights and we'll be choosing one of the video topics every month. And on that note, I would like to once again thank my head herpers, starting with Lavenders, Lindsay Justice, Bobby Cromer, Amanda Lynn, and Deborah Torgerson. And while my other fantastic patrons scroll by, I do want to take this chance to say, if you are a head herper and you ever hear me mispronounce your name, please let me know as more of you start joining. I'm sure it's bound to happen, and I don't want to do you guys that way, so thank you again for all of your support. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week, but most of all, I hope that you just keep herping.